York. New York, what's up, New York? Listen, we in New York, right? This is hip hop. This is hip hop.
Welcome back to Crash the Industry. Ladies and gentlemen, industry shakers and movers, and all my Crash the Industry family, tonight we have the honor of welcoming a true legend in the game. When we talk about pioneers in the nightlife and restaurant industry, when we talk about visionaries who built empires from the ground up, when we talk about the man who made the Bronx the go-to destination for celebrities, athletes, and power players, we're talking about none other than Jimmy Rodriguez. From seafood hustling on the streets with his father to creating iconic Jimmy's Bronx Café, where the biggest names in sports, music, and entertainment came to vibe. Jimmy has been a king in the hospitality and nightlife world for decades. He took the culture to new heights, expanding his empire with Jimmy's Uptown, Jimmy's Downtown, Don Coqui, giving New York unforgettable dining and entertainment experiences forever. He's hosted legends like Derek Jeter, Jennifer Lopez, and even Fidel Castro. His establishments weren't just restaurants. They were powerhouses where deals was made and history was written. Tonight, we get to hear from the man himself, his story, his hustle, and the game he's got for all of us looking to break barriers and build legacies. Crash the Industry family and friends, put your hands together for the Bronx own, restaurant mogul, the nightlife king, Jimmy Rodriguez. What's going on, my brother?
Thank you so much. That's a great introduction. I'm like, who's that guy?
I did a lot of research. Before I get into the questions I really wrote, I heard you have a Prince story.
I mean, we've got stories for days. I mean, it's interesting that I had the honor to host him at an event at Jimmy's Downtown. Actually Jimmy's Uptown, because if you grew up in the Bronx, we had like this way of calling Uptown and Downtown. Below 96th Street, we called it Downtown. Mm-hmm. Above 96th Street, where the money was cut off, we called it Uptown. So it happened that I hosted his party up at Jimmy's Uptown, and that was a memorable event. It was really wonderful.
How did that come about?
You know, it became, and it's crazy because Jimmy's Uptown, and I believe it was like way ahead of its time, became this place where you did record releases, private parties. It was custom built and designed where we did Latin and soul. Different from Jimmy's Bronx Café, which was straight Puerto Rican. Mm-hmm. We did a Latin soul place there, and then we did Jimmy's Downtown, which was Latin American. But we had everybody come up to all three locations, but that was a memorable night having Prince there.
Got you. So now we can get into the real questions. As a culture creator and pioneer of nightlife and hospitality, where did your innovative mindset come from? Like, what inspired you to be the first to do so many things in the industry?
It's learning every single day. I mean, we call them life lessons. So when you start selling fish in the street, you know, you want to be able to provide everyone the best product at the best price. So going to Fulton Fish Market and buying the seafood and buying the coconut water and the sugarcane juice and making the soup and making it fresh every day and giving people the value was where it all started. And then it became from a fish stand to a little counter for food to go. And then it became a little restaurant. And then the restaurant became a little with a bar. And then before you know it, it's a little party room. And then before you know it, everybody's celebrating their night, their moments, their family. And it was such a big gathering that we didn't have places growing up because, believe it or not, like I remember like so vividly, like our parents and grandparents worked in the industry, and they didn't have Puerto Rican or Dominican restaurants to speak of to go back in those days. It was Chinese, it was Italian, it was American, and you didn't go to a Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban restaurant to go eat because it didn't exist. So for us to go into that industry, to be one of the few Puerto Rican restaurants, but we had our brothers and sisters, which were Dominican and Mexican, and we all worked together in the same kitchen, and be able to create moments for our families was very interesting.
So let's continue the innovations that you did. Like we spoke about off camera, you were the first to host teen nights, giving young people in the Bronx and out of the Bronx a safe but exciting space to experience nightlife. What inspired that idea, and how did it shape the nightlife culture moving forward?
Well, I mean, don't forget, it started from Marisco de Caribe was basically a restaurant with to-go and little private spaces. But then Jimmy's Bronx Café became the restaurant with the catering hall, with an outdoor place for you to listen to salsa. So even before it was enclosed, that was a big outdoor place where we could see our bands perform. And then we took that to enclosing it and then making it a nightclub, comedy, and then doing college nights. So college nights, it was like, wow, you can't believe how many college students wanted to come home for Thanksgiving, and it was a sold-out event. And then before you know it, became the teen night, which shaped, the industry to be a place where you had just different themes for different audiences. But we capitalized most on bringing the best energy, music, and experience for everyone to come.
So Jimmy's Bronx Cafe dynamic was Latin, but then it was a shift at one point where it was like a lot of hip hop nights. How did that situation transition?
It was very difficult because growing up when hip hop first came out was hood. So you didn't, you didn't want people to come in with sneakers and hoodies and hats. And for me, it got to the point where the only way I was going to keep this place, like, I believe, safe and different was I made you get dressed up. Because I believed if you had to get dressed up, you wasn't fighting. If you didn't have Timbs on,
You're not trying to stomp nobody out.
Right. So you're not walking in like you're going to a schoolyard. So you take the schoolyard out of them and say, yeah, you want to do schoolyard? Not tonight. This is how we're going to do. We're going to do security. We're going to make sure everybody gets home safe. We're going to make sure everybody's in this place safe. So that's how we reshaped. And I remember one time, Ian Schrager is like the pioneer, I think one of the most famous artistic men that I've ever met. He came to Jimmy's Bronx Cafe. By the way, he used to own Studio 54. And I remember one night he was there and he was walking around the whole restaurant. And he comes back to me and he says, Jimmy, it's interesting. I says, what do you mean by that? He says, you have 1,000 people in here. I went to the bathroom. I walked around. Ain't nobody doing drugs here. I'm like, well, you have to understand. Different strokes for different folks. You could do that downtown. Up here, you get shut down. Like, they want to see something like that. Like, we got
They
known
expected
for,
it.
yeah, they expected that for all of these things to be happening in our restaurant. I'm like, no, we don't do that. Guys, whatever you guys want to do on your time, in your place, and whatever, that's fine, but not here. So we didn't allow it. If you got caught in the bathroom,
Taking a bump.
you were going to get evicted. And we searched everybody down. But not that, I'm not going to tell you that people didn't do it. They didn't go in or out or whatever. I can't say that, but I can tell you one thing. The standard that we were held to by the police department, by the discrimination in our neighborhood, that we didn't have the same sources or people to go to or protection, we had to be twice as nice to be half as good. And that's what people didn't realize, that for us, we was always in jeopardy of losing our license or getting shut down because we didn't have anyone to help us or represent us, from the police department to elected officials to community. We didn't have it. So if anybody said that, no, it didn't happen. It didn't exist.
Over the years, you built that friendship.
Well, I
Or
mean,
those relationships.
you know what? I've always had relationships. But, one of the saddest things that I still say to this day is that we have no Latin leadership. I mean, if I had a problem, I'd run to Al Sharpton tomorrow, because I wouldn't know where to run to in our community. You know what I'm saying? It's so sad that we still don't have like that representation that should have been there for forever.
It should have.
So
So now, when I ask you how did the transition of hip hop come about, there was a segue to me asking you this question. You were the first to host a celebration for Big Pun after his passing, bringing the community together during a historic moment. Can you take us back to that night and what was the energy like? And what did that moment mean for the Bronx Jimmy's Cafe and you?
Well, I mean, man, Big Pun was special. He was an individual that, if you ever met, was so kind and genuine. And I remember him going away to the fat farm to lose the weight, even before he passed, and him coming home and then losing him. That was like even a greater loss for our community. And setting up the funeral and making sure that he was, you know, viewed and you know, the security for the funeral and paying for the funeral and making it happen. I mean, it was just sad. I mean, it was a huge loss because he was one of us. You know what I'm saying? You never want to see a brother or sister go, and that still to this day bothers me.
Mm. And you felt like it was your duty to help and assist with that.
That's what big brothers do. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if you know me, you know I'm a giver. You're never going to say, hey, Jimmy's a taker. I've always given from my heart. I've always helped. I remember having over 110 Little League teams from the Bronx to Brooklyn to Queens to Long Island. No, we didn't do Long Island. Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan. And we donated all the uniforms. And all we ask is that you don't charge none of these kids to join the league. And I'm doing a competitive against themselves, bringing them up to Cooperstown. You know, we have to be responsible. We have to help our community. We have to not only make, but we have to give back, you know?
Absolutely. So Jimmy's Bronx Café was more than a restaurant. It was a movement. What was your vision when you first opened the doors? And did you ever imagine it becoming the iconic hotspot that it became, like the monster it became?
That was one of the hardest deals that I put together. You know, I wound up buying that restaurant, that building, with $44,000 that my dad lent me. And that was 4 points for $1.1 million that we borrowed from Leon Katz. So he lent us $1.1 million, and I had to give him 4 points. And that was the $44,000 that we used to buy the building. And the seller took back like another, I think, $900,000 and $1 million. And I didn't think that was going to happen, but you know, you have to get up and you got to make it happen every single day. So first of all, to acquire the property and not having the money to build it, and going to friends and people to ask for help and having all the doors shut down was like, wow, interesting. It never stopped. It never stopped me. Never stopped me from thinking that it can happen. Where you went to the Chases of the bank, Chases. Banco Popular, you went to all the banks, and it was no. You know, and I had to borrow, you know, 24% money, but it didn't matter because at the end of the day, you have to do whatever it takes.
You got to believe in yourself to the point where it seems crazy.
Listen, I had 50 men working every single day while I was in contract. And I remember Leon telling me, hey, you know what, the reason why we're going to lend you this money, well, I mean, 24% is good interest, so we don't mind lending you the money because we're going to make a lot of money off of you. But the one thing that is different is you're building this property that you don't own. So if you don't close on this, you're just going to lose $200,000-$300,000. So that takes a lot of courage and a lot of, you know, guts to put your money where your mouth is. And that's how it started. And it was like a great opportunity for us. I would never have thought that Jimmy's would have went to where it was, because at that point we created a restaurant, a huge takeout area so people could take their food home every day, a place where you can get married. I remember doing Tito Nieves' wedding downstairs, and Celia Cruz and Tito Puente, La India, Mark, everybody was there. Like, it was, everybody that was anybody went and enjoyed and celebrated their moments there. And then the nightclub. I mean, who didn't perform? I mean, you had DMX, you had R. Kelly, you had everybody.
That was my next. That was like my next question. You've had legendary figures, athletes, celebrities, politicians walk through the doors. What was it like partying with those legends? And are there any unforgettable stories that you can share?
I mean, you know, when you grow up and you see like all of these famous people on TV, from baseball and basketball and hanging out with Macho Camacho, and he's running around, and I remember Calvin Klein and Mucha Prada, and all of these people from all different walks of life come in and be part of that moment, that experience. I mean, Fidel Castro.
Yes.
I mean, you want to talk about controversy. At the time, Giuliani was the mayor, right? And, at that time, like most times, most mayors don't go above 96th Street. They either go up to 96th Street, they go to Riverdale, they go to Staten Island, they go to some parts of Queens and Brooklyn, and the Bronx and the Heights is never visited. So at that time, it was the 50th anniversary of the UN, and Kofi Annan and Fidel Castro was not invited to none of the celebratory events in New York City. They were banned. And Serrano decided to invite him up to Jimmy's Bronx Café, and I'm like, why not? At the end of the day, they banned the Yankees from coming, or not the Yankees, they banned Major League players from visiting our location because of unsavory characters. Like, what's an unsavory character? A person that you deem to feel someone that shouldn't be in a restaurant? I mean, if they go to Yankee Stadium, it's fine. Madison Square Garden is fine. Italian restaurants is fine, but not our restaurant. So how did it become unsavory? So, I mean, that was a major blow, because I think that was something that hurt us. But that memory of having Fidel Castro walk into the building as Secret Service is like, so who's doing security? And I'm like, who's doing security? Oh, man, something happens to him, it's not my problem, it's your problem. Like, I'm not doing no security. You guys better have some there. Helicopters there, secret there, everything around. I'm not in charge of this.
He's welcome.
Yeah. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's like, it didn't matter to us because, across the street there was people protesting, and then inside there was people celebrating. I'm not into politics, but I can tell you one thing, politics is a dirty game, man. Right now, it's like, you never know who's on your side, who's not on your side, what's happening in this day and age, and people flip and sell for nothing, for anything this day and age.
If you could pick another memorable moment of Jimmy Bronx Cafe, what would it be and why?
I mean, sitting down with Tito Puente and just having drinks on the normal, having just people from the Yankees and the Mets, and it was celebrate. Every night was a beautiful night. I'm like, it's hard to say. I mean,
You had too many memories there.
Jeter's 30th birthday. Everybody's there. The Yankees win the World Series, and where they at? They're not in the Grand Hyatt. They're at Jimmy's with their family celebrating. It was crazy because back then you would realize that they didn't even feel at home, or they didn't have a home, so to speak, to celebrate. And it became the place where, they came to celebrate. I remember Pedro Martinez coming to New York to play against the Yankees, and he's like, yo, Jimmy, I need a case of Dom Perignon. Can you send it to the room with some food? And everybody was always there. I mean, there was Ivan Rodriguez, there was so many beautiful people that, celebrates. There was so many memories. Like,
And you said something earlier to, I think, Natalia and Legacy. You said, I'm gonna have to start interviewing people so they can tell me stories that I don't remember.
Oh my God.
I think you should do that.
I think so, because at the end of the day, it's like, I would love to see the Jimmy pictures and tell me the stories,
Behind
who
that
got
picture.
married, who got divorced, who got pregnant. I mean, there's so many stories. Like, I know Jimmy. Like, everybody has an I know Jimmy story.
Got you. So from the Bronx to Harlem to Manhattan, you built an empire. What were the biggest challenges you faced as you expanded, and what lessons did you learn along the way, like branding, business, and innovation?
If you have to look at how to create a brand, you have to first believe in what you're going to do, how you're going to design it, from what's the name, what's the mark, how is it going to be identified long term. Are you willing to sacrifice the time and energy to make it work? One of the biggest challenges that I had in my life was going through COVID. If you would have told me that they were going to shut down the whole industry in the whole world and Broadway and hotels, I would have said, no, it's never going to happen.
Never.
And to have to overcome that situation, and now you see the new generation and you see the new behavior. The nightclubs are not the same.
No.
The clubs are not the same. The lounges are not the same. People don't go out to eat the same. Everybody is now moved in different directions. So you have to also, you can't get stuck in a certain period of your life and anything you do in life. You have to turn around and embrace change and, deal with it. So, I mean, one of the biggest challenges right now is for anyone opening a restaurant, I would first advise them, go work in one, be the best in that restaurant that you're gonna work in, and find the right restaurant that you wanna learn from. If you wanna take that challenge to be a restaurateur, a nightclub, catering, anything you wanna do. If you wanna do a podcast, work for someone that does a podcast. If you wanna do film, work for someone that does film.
Got you. So we was talking about branding. Branding is everything, hospitality, nightlife, business. How did you build Jimmy's Rodriguez brand, and what did you think made it so powerful and respected?
Jimmy's wasn't even supposed to be called Jimmy's. It was supposed to be called Tito Puente's. And I didn't have the $100,000 to give him, or Ralph Mercado, which managed him at the time, to use his name. And I winded up using Jimmy's because my designer at the time says, well, there's Sylvia's. And everybody goes to Sylvia's and they go to Londell's and they go, people go there to see that person. Why don't you just call it Jimmy's? And I was like, I always want to be behind the scene. I always want to be, and I took the challenge and it worked, because I to this day, I feel that the Jimmy brand is respected. Everybody had a moment that they enjoyed. I have no regrets of building a brand.
So speaking on the branding part, back when you first opened up Jimmy's, I read that you spent about $30,000 to $40,000 on the design of the logo and sign.
Just the logo.
Just the logo.
$25,000, over 30 years ago, just for the logo. Which now you could probably get it done for, if I had to say, what would I spend to do a logo today to get a top-notch logo? And this is because I have the knowledge. I spent over $1 million in my life to create a logo, a mark, and a brand. So I'm ahead of most people. But right now, $10,000, $15,000 just to create a logo would be the minimum that I would recommend anybody set aside just for that. And find someone that can help you do it properly. Because you could spend a lot of money not educating yourself or finding the right person to help you.
Got you. Was there a moment when you knew this was your true calling?
I still don't know where. I'm so humbled enough to say that I still don't know what my true calling is yet. I mean, I've done this and I've done this and I've done this and I've been here with this person. And I say, my best years are still yet to come. I don't know, while I have a history and people, I still think that my greatest piece has not been built, painted, designed, because don't forget Jimmy's Uptown, Jimmy's Downtown, Jimmy's City Island, Jimmy's Bronx Café. That was 4 Jimmy's. So now you are talking about, for more than 10 years, you've created moments for people in all different areas. City Island, which was City Island.
That view was
57th Street.
amazing.
Yeah, but look at 57th Street. Think of a Puerto Rican restaurant on 57 and First. You're not supposed to be there. just didn't, and then to do it in Harlem. And the way it was done, I think that one of the things that I've always managed is to be able to surround myself with smarter people, or people that know so much more than I do. That always helps me, because then I'm always learning.
So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick break.
Yes, sir.
And then we're going to come back with the second half of your interview, and then, we'll get into Pete Powers we have here with you.
There you go.
I appreciate your time. We'll be right back.
There you go.
Welcome back, and I'm still here with Jimmy's Bronx Cafe, or just Jimmy Rodriguez. And I have a few more questions for you before we let you get back out of here to go party. Now, so you've always had an eye for innovation, from introducing upscale Latin dining to creating one-of-a-kind nightlife experiences. How did you stay ahead of the curve and set trends instead of following them?
Watching people partying. I mean, I don't party, but I put myself in the room and see how can I make the experience better. And learning so much now, reinventing myself right now post-COVID. I'm excited because everybody's starting from square one. Like, in other words, no one can say, oh, I already did COVID. No. Everybody had to do COVID together. So now, where before we would make the reservations and you had to pop bottles and how many bottles per section, per se, and so on, we have to figure out how to get the people to come out. So it's reinventing the nightlife experience. One of the things that I've seen that change right now in the nightlife experience is the day party. As we get older, we don't want to party till 4 in the morning. So I see people now wanting to enjoy themselves between 4 and 7, 7 and 10, 8 and 12. This 4 o'clock in the morning just does not work. It's something.
It's
for the
because
past.
it's something. It's now too many things are happening after a certain hour. Too many things are happening, and I will tell you how I got introduced to day parties was Vegas. Like, if you go to Vegas, there's a party all day long.
There you go.
I got a friend who has a residency out there. My guy Itchy Palm. Shout out to Itchy. He's a clothing designer, and he designed for Snoop Dogg. He designed for like Rihanna and ASAP. Did the baby clothing stuff. Every time I look online, he's like, "Yo, come party. It's 9 o'clock in the morning." I'm like, and he's at a hotel. It's people there diving in the pool, they drink, splashing. You know, he had a champagne deal, so they would send champagne to the hotel. I'm like, and then I already did this years ago when I was first going to Vegas. So I'm like, oh, so Vegas is still continuing the day parties, and I seen it was starting to hit New York when I started seeing all the brunches, and then I seen somebody do a brunch on a Saturday, and I'm like, I thought that was a Sunday thing. And then I ended up at a restaurant with my wife on a Saturday at a brunch, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's mimosa hours. We're gonna tear these mimosas up and stumble home or something like that. So yes, day parties, and like the changes you're making, or you said earlier, is like a lot of people are Uber eating.
Well, the one thing is that people are working from home. It's a little expensive to go out every single night. So people would prefer to have a really good meal that they could order in from their favorite restaurant or their supermarket. So the dining industry has changed so much. And I look forward to all the changes because you have to stay innovative. You have to stay fresh. You have to like figure out what's next. I mean, I really look at things that I've done and I'm like, oh, that was cool. What's next? What am I doing tomorrow? Like, what's the next power move? What's the next? Everybody watches what I do. And they're like, okay, he's doing this. Okay, let me start doing this. Like, one of the things that I don't do is I don't do hookah. Hookah's illegal. You can't smoke a cigarette, can't smoke a cigar, can't smoke a hookah. So I'm like, oh, well, I know I'm missing out on a lot of money that could come into our industry, but why do it illegally? Unfair. Because you become the biggest target when you're doing stuff right. People don't, they'll look at you, well, he does it. Well, now they can say, well, he doesn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So being innovative means sometimes you don't cash in on certain things that other people are doing. And I'm okay with that. I mean, not all money is good money.
I was just about to say that. That's our thing. So in an industry where competition is fierce, how did you make sure your establishment stood out and remained at the top? Just like what you said?
Quality, service, hospitality is key. And, I don't sell food. I sell experiences. So for me, at the end of the day, it's like, you're going to come in, the lighting is going to be right, the sound is going to be right, the server better be on point, the cook better be, everybody better be we're rocking, like basketball, football. You're coming in, we're playing, and it's showtime. So when you walk into to our establishments, it's showtime. It's about creating that moment, that experience, and making sure people feel at home.
So, like, what are your personal touches? Because when I was there, I seen you and I seen Upper Steve, and both of you guys were going from table to table, greeting your customers, and I know that's something that's been done for years by certain people. What makes you still want to do that?
When you identify the place that you're in as home, you want people to feel, people are always going to remember how you made them feel. So that's important to me. And I take the smallest thing, and I want people to have a memory that it was, that was cool. He didn't have to, like, in other words, sometimes it's your birthday. Let's go do a shot. Let's celebrate the moment. I need a shout out. I need, like, in other words, you want people to feel like, how would you want to feel? Like, you never lose that touch. I mean, once you have it, it's like, it's in you.
And you're a people's person. Like, when I was sitting there at your new spot, Chef walks in, and you're like, yo, Chef, we need to connect with him. And he's like, mind if I come over with my lady? Boom. Chef sits down next to me, and me and Chef lock in. And then as me and Chef are talking, and you're like, Shah, come over here real quick. And you're like, yo, this is this person, this is this person. And I'm like, okay, so I went there, I made connections, and that is something I say, other restaurateurs, they will greet you, but they won't say, hey, I think y'all should connect.
Oh, I love that. There's a book, right? It's funny, it's about I think it's about 20 years old. And it's called Never Eat Alone. And in that book, it says Never Eat Alone. There's a chapter about Jimmy Rodriguez. And it says how when you go into his restaurant, he connects, he's the dot connector. Like, you're gonna walk in, you're gonna feel like you're part of the family, but you're gonna wind up walking out of this place knowing, meeting, and connecting with someone else. And I'm like, and this was like, I'm still doing it. I just enjoy connecting people. I mean, on Sunday, I had a friend of mine, Pete owns OJ Limousine, and he comes over to the table, and I'm like, you have to meet her. And he goes, why? I says, because you guys are going to be like friends. Like, you guys are going to connect. I'm going to leave you guys alone for 10 minutes. And I come back 10 minutes later, I'm like, what do you think? And he goes, and she goes, I says, I can tell the energy. I know that you guys haven't met, but you're going to like love connecting. This is just professional people. You break the ice, you crash, you like, make it happen.
So that's exactly how this show was built. So in the beginning, I wanted to connect people. I wanted to tell people stories. Like, I would say, shout out to my brother Legacy. He was the first guest on my show. He took a chance. He didn't know where I was going with this. And normally, in the beginning, I was interviewing one person at a time. Then I said, no, we got to put more people in the room together so that connections are made. And when they leave there, they have each other's number. And they can say, yo, I got this deal for you. Or, yo, I need you to come do this. Like, right now, when you leave here, if you got an event and somebody says, hey, I kind of want a hip-hop night, I need some performers. Yo, Pete, I need you to come pull up. Are you available? Yo, Legacy, I need you to pull up. Like, that is something that I personally love to put together. And I think that's needed in more establishments.
Every day. Every day. That's what I thrive on. I love connecting people with people. Oh, so-and-so's here. You should stop by. You need to meet this person. I had a lady, she was a real estate broker. You want to be a lawyer? Funny thing. Hey, Derek, by the way, he's my attorney. This Peter is my lawyer. At the end of the day, you guys should meet. 2 hours later, she goes, I love you. She goes, every time I come here, I walk away with a new relationship, a new connection, someone that, you know, I would have never met, but because of you.
Yeah. I got a few more questions before I let you get out of here. If you could sit down with your younger self, just as you were starting your journey, what would you tell him?
Believe in yourself. Never stop believing in yourself. You're going to go through a lot of trials and tribulation in life, but never give up. Surround yourself with people that can help you and learn from those that can't. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people you're going to walk in life and you're going to meet. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that I started in the street. You know, I got locked up a couple of times when I was a young man, but even before that, I was in Puerto Rico because I wanted to be a baseball player. And I studied the Bible for a whole year. And I was going to church 5 and 6 days a week. And then come to New York and start backsliding and then get caught up in what was happening at the time in the street. I never gave up, you know what I'm saying? And I had to go through a hard time to realize that, you know, there are better ways to do things in life.
Yeah, I actually was listening to you tell someone that you got arrested like 2 or 3 times in the same week.
3.
3. And you was like, I'm done. I'm going to work with my pops.
Yo, I spent a week in Rikers. You know, and at that time, they're like, oh, you could do a bullet, 2, 3 bullets, or, you know, bullets.
Why do you want to give up that time?
Like, they told me what to do 1 week of my life.
Miserable.
When to get up, what to eat, if to eat. Like, nah, this is not. I got an apartment, I got a car, I could eat what. Nah, this is not for
I'm
me.
out of here. So you've accomplished so much, but the game never stops. What's next for Jimmy Rodriguez? Any new ventures or visions you're excited about?
I'm working on I'm reinventing myself for the post-COVID Jimmy Rodriguez hospitality experience entrepreneur. Like, it's a whole, I'm doing so much work, I'm studying, you know, I'm engulfed in the work, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next year or 2.
Well, we're going to Soul Bros after this,
Yes.
and we're gonna have a drink with you, and then I'm gonna see that journey. I'm gonna be there to see that journey with
Well,
you.
we're gonna be part of it. We're gonna do this together.
we're gonna
You
be
know, we're
there.
gonna crash all the industries. That's what it's all about.
I appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate
Honestly,
you.
it was an honor to
honor was
for you to
mine.
bless the
Listen.
stage.
I'm happy to be able to share some of my experiences with everybody. I think they deserve to hear more positive messages than negative messages, and I hope this helps someone out there.
So tell everybody where they can reach you. Tell everybody where they need to go to see you in person. Come to your restaurant. What's your Instagram? Just get the young people where they could find you.
Well, this summer, well, you can find me at Jimmy Sofrito. Jimmy Sofrito is my personal Instagram, and I'm always posting up stories. I'm going to be in schools. I'm going to be doing some mentoring. I'm going to be at Sobro Garden. I'm working on a couple of other projects. Sobro's right here in the Bronx. It's a beautiful place that you can come celebrate, enjoy, and eat, and have a great time with your family.
Thank you very much. And that is the first half of the show. We'll be back with Pete Powers, 2 legends in the building from the Bronx.
There you go.
Thank you, my brother.
Bless. Thank you so much.